Hey Pixel Peeps, let's recap everything we made in 2022. I'm experimenting with some new editing styles, so if you prefer the style of this video or previous videos, please let me know. I'll be linking original patterns in the description. Before we start, I just wanted to thank all of the Pixel Peeps and you for your continuous support. It means a lot. Let's get to it. More recently, we made tons of Christmas ornaments during our live streams, but one of the first batches were our holiday Pokemon starters from the Kanto region. First, we turned them into ornaments, but then we combined them all together to create a festive wreath. It's still hanging in front of our house, even though it's currently January. Maybe we'll make something for Valentine's Day or something for February. We have Pikachu with some holiday lights, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Eevee, Holiday Tree Bulbasaur, Ebenezer Charmander Scrooge, and Santa Squirtle. I think Santa Squirtle's my favorite, but shh, don't tell the others. I ran into a pixel artist on DeviantArt called Petalade that made the cutest Animal Crossing art. I turned their renditions into Perler Bead patterns and made my favorite villagers. We have Zucker, an octopus based off takoyaki, a Japanese street food that is very popular in Osaka where we used to live. Filbert, a cool squirrel that's had me calling everyone I know Bucko since 2012. Prince, a lazy frog who is quite silly. Snake, a rabbit that plays homage to Metal Gear Solid, one of my favorite games of all time. Marshall, a super sly squirrel that the internet fell in love with. And Raymond, the cool cat with heterochromia, which means you have different colored eyes. Most of these folks have been in one of my towns and villages over the years. The only one I made that I never had in my town was Raymond, but he looked pretty rad, so we made him too. I made some ornament toppers to put on top of some of these tree ornaments, but some of them didn't have enough space to put them on. Snake's ears, for example, made that quite impossible. The patterns without the black outline were from the Perler Bead Animal Crossing kit. We have KK Slider, the Leaf logo, Celeste, Timmy, and Tom Nook. Now that I've had some time away from them, I think I like the outline versions better. I think Mataz was right when they said that the ones without the outline looked a little unfinished compared to the ones with an outline, but they're still really cute. One of my BFFs asked me to make him some custom Perler Bead coasters after he saw my video on how to make them. He specifically asked for a Yoshi and Wario coaster. I immediately thought of using the Yoshi egg as the design for the first one. I originally made the egg and shaped some cork underneath, but it turned out to be too small. I went back to my roots and remade it using a square design. For the Wario, his face was mostly already a square shape, so I decided to just use his face. I was running low on light gray beads, so I instead used this mix of light blue and light gray called Mist, and I think it actually made the design pop even more. I was super happy with how they came out, especially their flat melts. What's not to love about Studio Ghibli's characters? Or is it Studio Ghibli? I'm not sure. Correct me in the comments. They're quirky, they're cute, they're lovable, and they're complex. We made some tree ornaments out of No Face from Spirited Away, Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service, Calcifer from Howl's Moving Castle, Kiki's cat Gigi from Kiki's Delivery Service, a tree spirit or a Kodama from Princess Mononoke, and a Soot Sprite or Susu Watari from a few different movies. We ended up not making Totoro or his little blue buddy called Chu Totoro since we wanted to wait until we had mini beads. During my Stardew craze, I finally convinced my partner Mataz to give Stardew Valley a shot after trying to convince him for 5 years. We started a co-op farm together and made it all the way to the endgame. It was a super fun bonding experience to share something that I've held so close to my heart with the person that actually has my heart. To commemorate it, I took a screenshot of their farmer and turned it into a keychain. Mataz put it on their bag and they take it with them wherever they go now. Terraria is a game I hadn't played much before 2022. But some of our Pixel Peeps suggested we jumped on it, so we did. It's a pretty overwhelming game at times with so many options, but overall it's pretty great. I made a kitty like I made one for Stardew Valley, a Santa Claus, and our handy dandy guide. Since we just made the heads, they came out nice and small, even though they aren't made with mini Perler Beads. Earlier in the year, we got every single one of the achievements available for Stardew Valley on our stream. It was loads of fun, and we had a ton of help from our Pixel Peeps to get the farm up and running during our community nights. We made some creations based on some iconic imagery, like Shane's blue chickens, Mayor Lewis's purple shorts, and the main character from the Journey of the Prairie King. That last one might not be super iconic to most players, but it took me ages to get the achievement to beat the game without dying. It was moment after moment for a while, but we eventually nailed it. At the very beginning of the year, I turned myself into Perler Beads. I had the pixel art designed back in October of 2021, shortly after starting my VTubing adventure. I've made a bunch of self-portraits in different styles since then using pixel art, but I thought this one would translate best to Perler Beads. I had this crazy idea of one day being a Perler Bead VTuber, and well, here we are. The original design had a gray shirt, but I thought it would look too similar to the blue jeans, so we went with white instead. I took a picture, made some edits, and bam! Now I'm here. I was super excited to share this with the world. In fact, here's a clip from the end of my debut. Take note of the absolute hype.
New model reveal, never ever done before in the history of VTubing. Here we go. Hey, it's me. It's a Perler Bead model. I'm made out of Perler Beads. Look at me. Look at me. I'm a Perler Bead guy. Ah!
I'm excited to add on emotions and adjustments in the new year. Right before the year ended, Santa gave us some mini Perler Beads to work with for the first time. I decided to do some ironing experiments, and once I felt like I knew what I was doing, I made myself. Again, I guess I underestimated how tiny the mini beads actually were. They're almost 50% smaller. I struggled a bit to work on these over a long period of time due to wrist strain and the fact that I have meaty sausage fingers, but it's so worth it because everything is so small and so cute. I used to work with some young folks at my old job. They were bright, funny, and kind. Before I left that position, I'd asked them what their favorite Pokemon were and made them each a keychain with their favorite Pokemon. We made Squirtle, Joltik, Dreepy, Shedinja, Riolu, Froakie, Smeargle, Sinistea, Shinx, and 2 Dittos. While these came out too big to attach to a ring of keys, my hope is that they would hang it somewhere and remember our time together. In 2021, my nephews asked me to make them some Perler Bead Mario frames after they saw that I had made a gift for our best friends who had just had a baby. There's a whole video on the process and what you need to consider if you like to make your own. Just now in 2023, we made a whole Final Fantasy frame creation, but that's not 2022, so we'll keep that out of this video. Overall, I think these might be a great idea to make for anyone as a gift. If you want to use a smaller frame, try mini Perler Beads. They're a little tedious, but they can fit so many details in them. For Halloween, we made a giant Boo from Super Mario. Now, maybe it's not that giant, but it felt like it was when I was making it. I tripled it in size, but that means it used 9 times the amount of beads. We put some Velcro on the back and threw it on the outside of our house for some decorative spirit. Maybe I should have finished it before the day of Halloween, but hey, at least we have something for next year. Back when I used to stream on Twitch, I stream on YouTube now, I had a channel points redeemed to get a custom Perler Bead creation made and shipped to you for 30,000 points. The first one I made in February was for our community member Schwinn. He's also a VTuber, so check him out. He's a pretty rad dude, has great taste in music, and is just a neat guy to be around. We bonded over a love for FromSoft games, so it was pretty on the mark when he requested a Dark Souls Onion Knight creation. After making the creation, we slapped a cork backing to it to keep it more sturdy and give it a nicer overall finish. Another channel points redeemed was for our Pixel Peep gift horse. He's also a rad lad, and he's too cool for school. He asked for the titular mask from The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Yet another one of our channel point redeems was for our good pal The Q, who is super fun to play games with and chat with. We made his namesake, Sea Cucumber from the Splatoon series. This one was a little difficult to plan for since the character has so many different shades of blues and purples, but we made the best with what we had. A few months after the Onion Knight, Schwinn collected enough points to get yet another channel points redeem, and this time we made Jack Frost from the Shin Megami Tensei and Persona series. While this wasn't the first time we worked with Perler Beads on a live stream, this was the first stream we did on YouTube when we switched over. Exciting times, let me tell you. While YouTube doesn't currently have channel points, we do have a system to keep track of your points. If you're interested in getting your own Perler Bead creation, swing by when we go live and join the chat to start accumulating your points. And that's the year in a nutshell. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the flippity flop of 2023 and onward. Until next time, peace out.